This tutorial is about how to do APA citations and bibliographies for research projects in science. And I've included a website on this slide that you may want to check out if you need further information. This is from an academic institution in Alberta, and the the slides that are a little bit ahead in this video are taken from that source. If you just Google APA guidelines, you will find all kinds of different guidebooks and small resources from various institutions, educational institutions, that will help you to understand how to do this. One of the hardest things for students to deal with when they're doing a research paper is knowing when to include an in-text citation and when you don't need to. And sometimes students oversight, so you might hand in a project and there's a paragraph with 5 sentences and every single sentence has a citation after it. That's not what we want to see in your writing. You shouldn't be putting together paragraphs in which every single piece of information in the paragraph has been taken from somewhere else. The paragraph will lack flow, it won't look like you have assembled it, and it really doesn't look like you have learned the material. So it's important that when you're doing your research that you're writing down relevant information from your sources, whether you're doing that by hand or you're using Google Docs to post that in. But then you take those pieces of information and you assemble them into paragraphs that you have constructed. And it doesn't mean you have to cite every single piece of information that you take from the internet. A lot of material you take, a lot of information you take from your sources might be considered general knowledge for most scientists and even for the general public. And if that's the case, by all means, you do not need to provide a citation for that information. However, there are some hard and fast rules about what you must provide a citation for. So I've put together a small list here to help you out. First of all, any photo, graphic, or video that you take from the internet and put into your product must have a citation right there. You must, right under the picture or right with the video, you must indicate where the source of that was. Secondly, statistics. Statistics are gathered from people's research. And so that is their life's work. You need to give credit for that. Obviously, direct quotes. If you're going to take a substantial amount of information from one place and you find that you can't really reword it, you must put it into quotation marks and you must include an in-text citation. Also, if you're referring to some kind of a fact or a finding that has specifically come from someone's research, that it's explicitly stated that according to the research done by so-and-so, this is the finding, then that is again someone's life work. So you need to provide a citation and give them credit for that. And also opinions. Opinions belong to people. So again, you would provide a citation for that. So please don't oversight, don't put a citation with every single fact that you take from your sources. And this is the tough part, is knowing what you need to cite and what you don't. But hopefully this helps, and you can always check it with your teacher and they can give you some further guidance on whether you should be citing certain pieces of information or not. This slide shows you some different methods of providing in-text citations when you're using a web page or some other type of document from a website. I know that most students use the internet to gather their research. I encourage you to also find print sources, so magazines, newspapers, books, and even if that means they're digitized, so you're looking at an online magazine or archived newspaper articles, or you're using Google Books, try to find some print material and not just websites. But here are some different ways that you can provide those in-text citations. The citation can be worded right into the sentence. So if we look at this first example here where it says, one author, as McGrath stated, and then the year 2008. Or as stated by the researcher, bracket, McGrath, comma, 2008. You're giving credit to that author, McGrath, the researcher. And if we look at this citation right here, this is a common method, and I believe it's called the Harvard method of citations. And it's just the author's last name, comma, and 2008. Now, if you have a page number, if it's from a book or a magazine article and you have a page number, you can include the page number as well. But often the page number is not available. And so if we look at these sources here, we have the title of the web page, New Child Vaccine, comma, 2010. So here's an example also where there is no author, and that's very common with the internet. You won't find an author's name. So we just put the title of the web page and the year that it was published on the internet. If we don't have a year, you can put, if you look down at the very bottom down here, you'll see this N.D. That stands for no date. So if you've searched the web page and you cannot find a date anywhere, it's acceptable to put in N.D. So if you just want to check out the other examples here and at the bottom, these are just a couple of different ways of providing citations for one source. Probably the most common way is down at the bottom here, and also this one at the top, where you simply, before you put your period, put an opening bracket, the author's last name or the web page title if there's no author, and then the year of publication, or N.D. if there's no date. Close your bracket and then put the period. That is the simplest and really the most common way of providing an in-text citation. Now this last slide shows you how to do your reference list. So this would be your bibliography. And this again, I've only put in here a web page or document from a website because the majority of students are going to those types of sources for their information. But it shows you when you have one author right here, what that citation is going to look like. If you have no author, there's nobody's name attached to the article, then it's just the title at the top of the web page. So we have New Child Vaccine Gets Funding Boost. And then down at the bottom, when there's no date, we have a word that was taken, the definition was taken from the Merriam-Webster's online dictionary, and there's no date with that because it's constantly being republished, so they don't put a date with it. So these are 3 examples. You shouldn't have to worry about this too much if you're using BibMe or citationmachine.net, and you have already been shown in class these websites. They are linked on Edmodo in our folder called Research Tools. There are others beyond this as well, but these are the 2 that are most commonly used and I'm familiar with, www.bibme.org and www.citationmachine.net. You do need to select APA because they're automatically set up for the MLA style of referencing, which is used in the social science, or sorry, not social sciences, in the humanities and in English. And APA is used in science, math, technologies, engineering, and the social sciences. So we want to pick APA as our formatting. But BibMe or Citation Machine, you can choose what type of source it is. So if it is a web page, then you're going to see the option there to choose a web page, and you would just cut and paste in the URL, and it hopefully will be able to load the information for you. If it has trouble loading the information, you're going to have to create that reference yourself. And so just follow the methods that you see here on this slide. If you have an author, then you're going to follow the method in number 1. If there's no author, follow the method in number 2. And you just put the relevant information into the same places as what you're seeing here. Okay, so that's it for referencing. Remember to simply get some extra help from your teachers if you're not understanding how to do this, or if you have questions about what needs to be cited.